The
Prashant, I love
conference
that
will now
your
be recorded.
title says Ambassador Williams.
Oh my gosh. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another virtual coffee with the Blue Coats. Today, our special guests are from the sociology department. We have Dr. Shane and Dr. Dieter. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys take the floor. You can talk about anything that you want to, maybe about summer classes, what you guys have been doing during quarantine, and we just really look forward to what you guys have to say to us today.
All right, Dr.
Well, hi,
D.
Dr. Shane. We've really never even. I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, I guess we do have some changes and announcements that are kind of new for sociology. In case anybody here, is going to take a sociology class in the fall, or anybody watching later. In the College of Arts and Sciences, the dean has asked us to convert things so that we will either have the usual online classes, or our face-to-face classes are going to be web enhanced. And so when you search face-to-face classes for a lot of the humanities, social science, math and science classes, you won't find anything. What instead you're going to find are the web enhanced classes. So you should search under web enhanced. And web enhanced just is really how most professors teach anyway, where you'll still have your class meeting, but maybe an exam is online, or a discussion board is online, or you're turning assignments in online. And what that does is it gives us flexibility in case the chancellor says we need to move more online. That class already had an online component, and so then what your professor will do is just expand the online component. So it should be kind of a less shocking shift if that happens. We're trying to avoid obviously what happened this spring, because that was so rough on everybody. Yeah. How was it for you all? What was it like?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, sorry. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I think it was rough on everyone, especially certain departments that weren't used to teaching online, because their programs are mostly on, face-to-face, like social work. But everyone's been able to come through, and the university's been able to help everyone out to move forward, and to help students get acclimated to whatever they had to do. So yeah. I'd say that Dr. Shane and I were probably pretty lucky, because we already had a lot of that knowledge of a lot of online ways of teaching. So
yeah.
I didn't take taking online classes very well. I'm a talker. I love to talk and discuss, as Dr. Shane already knows. So I just don't feel like I get as much from just online courses. So I think that was the biggest struggle for me. And for a couple of my courses, like one course I had 4 assignments for, but when I moved online, I now had like 15 plus assignments for. So now I had to really sit down and like time manage how I get these assignments done, and make sure I don't get the due dates mixed up with other classes' due dates, just because I was also taking 15 hours last semester. So yeah, it was like a whirlwind for me.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we feel you. I was I want to say fortunate that I was pulled into the team that called students. We called all the students to kind of touch base with them. And I think the biggest challenge students were receiving was that they missed that face-to-face, because you guys make it so easy to transition over to online, even for some of the, I was taking Dr. Berry, one of his classes, and he just absolutely hated it. He said, but we're going to make this work, So all that, the logistics, were kind of easygoing as far as like the students' perspective, but they just missed that interaction, and talking to their peers and seeing y'all's faces and asking questions. So it's been rough, I think, but so many of them are grateful that we are here for them, doing things like this. And I have yet to hear like complaints about the faculty. They're like, you know, as soon as you email them, they'll respond to you. And, you know, it's you guys are doing a fantastic job. And I just want to thank you guys for that.
Oh, thank you. I honestly, to be completely honest, I don't know how Dr. D feels, but I don't feel like I did my best. I have, and maybe everyone feels like that this semester. I just feel like it was so stressful, but maybe I could have done more. Maybe I could have done more. There wasn't space in my brain and in my emotional energy range to do any more than I was doing, but I still feel like, yeah, I don't know, that I keep thinking, what else could I have done? What else could I have done? Because through the process is so hard, and because students have so many things going on in their personal lives, that a few of them dropped, and students who I don't think would have normally dropped. And every single one of those, I never take drops personally, but this semester I was like, oh, what could I have done? I'm here, try. Okay, if you can't try, that's okay though. We support you. Dropping is an okay decision too. Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, and it probably won't, but I think a lot of us are in that same questioning mindset right now. It's kind of like, you know, what could have gone differently? What did we learn for the next pandemic?
Right. We're ready.
I think, from my perspective, I'm looking like I'm the oldest one here. I struggled with a laptop that was crap. It was on its last legs, and I couldn't get it to connect properly and everything. So I was stressing about that. I finally got a new laptop. It's refurbished, but hello, new laptop. And in my class, we were starting, in my group, we were starting to have trouble anyway, have difficulties anyway. And communication was a big thing. It's so impersonal talking to a laptop screen than talking to someone that's sitting next to you. And you feel that disconnect. And I live alone with my dog, and I have health conditions, so I don't go outside. I do once a month grocery shopping, but I stay indoors. So mentally, I'm having to fight. I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. Does that make sense? I'm British, so I rely on the British royal family to keep my spirits up, believe it or not, because they are very encouraging. I follow them on Twitter, and they take mental health seriously. They take old age people seriously. They're trying to draw them in. And in this country, I see bits and pieces of the good stuff in the news and whatnot, but your government's not really doing much. I'm sorry. And whereas my government may be crap, but we've got people outside of the government that's stepping up to the plate, like the royal family. In this country, it's like, you're alone, deal with it. And I don't think we should have to. I think we have to learn to overcome this feeling of disconnect with the screen.
Yeah.
And not be shy about talking to everybody. And that's why I'm trying to be upbeat, not so depressed, and thinking about my education. I may be 65, but gosh darn it, I want that bachelor's degree. I just did my first semester, and hopefully I completed it, Dr. Shane. Hopefully I passed it. And so it was a real struggle for me. Now I think I'm in the swing of things, and I'm excited to start moving forward again. This is my connect to the outside world. I could go and sit in my back garden, watch the squirrels, listen to the birds and stuff, but the connection, the touch, I miss that. And I have my son living in Cove, and he comes over periodically, but we have to be careful because he's still working, he's still out in the public, and his partner works for the prison system. So and with my health, I have to watch it. But we did sneak a hug in because I was so desperate. So now we move forward.
Good for you, Miss Sally. Every Tuesday, you can come join us and hang out with this bunch of fun folks. And that's one of the reasons we do these kind of events, because even though we're apart, we want our community to, especially our student body. And, you know, we have great guests that come on and they talk to us, they encourage us. And we want you to feel the love through the computer, because, you know, that's what we do. And the Blue Coat Ambassadors have always been kind of that connect between students and the university. And definitely, if you ever need us, just jump on our Facebook or jump on our Instagram. We're always on there, and we want to make you feel connected and make you feel that you are part of this campus community. So you're definitely not alone. You might be isolated at this point, but you are not alone. Trust us.
Yeah,
And we're
we-
very, like,
We can try to be your non-royal family.
Exactly.
Yes.
and that's the great thing about this university. Even though it's small, we have like our own like group within it that we all like, and we're also a diverse group. Like, we have young students, older students, students from like different walks of life. And, you know, there's always somebody to connect to. It might take a second to find the person that you really like make that interpersonal connection with, but they are here. And like Carla was saying, like the Blue Coats, we are such, I feel like we're very open. Like, we're always open to making new friends, making new conversations. We are always trying to put on like new and like motivating events. Like every Monday on our Facebook and our Instagram, I upload a quick like 3 to 5 minute video talking about motivation for the week, because motivation itself, sometimes I know it's really hard for me to get anything done in my home, because this is the place where I'm supposed to relax, right? Where I'm supposed to be able to shrug things off my shoulders. But now I'm not only working from home, I'm taking classes from home. So being able to find those small like intervals of really connecting with other people and being able to separate my personal time from my work time, that has also really helped. And I struggle with mental health too. I've struggled with mental health for a very long time. And I've actually had to get back on medication to really help with that. And this is something that I don't mind speaking about, because I feel like everybody, especially during this time, is struggling with mental health. So I want to encourage you to, our counselors at the university are amazing. And there are still counseling opportunities to do, like, I think they do webcam meetings for counseling, right, Carla? Yeah. So if you feel like you really need a professional to talk to, I would recommend reaching out to the counseling center. And if you want to, I can always find that information for you and get that to you.
You know, it's interesting, we talk about this sense of being disconnected and separate. When we first went remote, I'm a natural introvert, so this was my jam. I was in it to win it. I felt like I was given the freedom that I needed to go at my work, right? Like, I was able to be invested in my work without distraction. I had more energy for the task that was in front of me because it wasn't being sucked out of me by my sweet mates. Sorry, guys. There's a couple of you here.
I'm out.
But those kind of interactions, while I really enjoy having those interactions, they take a lot out of me. And I feel like I need to go and recharge before I'm able to put new energy into other things. So when I came home and I got my workspace situated, I finally got everything where it needed to be, I was able to just really start rocking and rolling. The thing that I think over, and I still love that, the introvert in me is still very happy and nested in this chair and really not looking forward to going back out to the campus and into my suite. But what I do miss is having people that I can bounce something off of very quickly. I miss that collaboration that occurs when you're just sitting in somebody's office, like, oh, I needed to walk away from my computer for a minute. I'm working on this. What do you think about that? And then having that organic kind of collaboration and inspiration that comes from my peers. I feel like our interactions are more intentional than they used to be, which is good because we're being mindful of each other's time and we're understanding that they're trying to also navigate this virtual world. but not being able to just like walk down the hallway to refill my water bottle and see somebody in the hallway and have that kind of interaction that does spark joy and inspiration in my work. Those are the things that I'm starting finally to start missing, and I'm starting to feel like that kind of isolation where while I'm still introverted and really enjoying being able to put all of my energy towards my work and not feel drained at the end of the day, I'm missing those organic interactions.
You just miss me, that's all.
I do miss them.
Working in your office.
This is the office that I can be found in most often if I'm not in mine.
And I'm like, thinking, like, Jessica, can I have a K-pod?
What kind of goodies you have? I miss seeing everybody's face and talking to you, and I miss hugs. That's what I miss the most.
Yeah.
Hugs are nice. You know, I know not everybody likes to have that, but these guys are huggers, and they're, you know, just always in there bouncing ideas and just, you know, quick, come here. And it's like that reassurance. But I feel that this has taught us, you know, background is sociology, of course, and it's just like a really nice social experiment we've had, you know. And I think a lot of folks are going to be doing studies for a long time after this to see what it's done to us. And hopefully what comes out of it is that we appreciate the small things more going back. I will definitely appreciate sitting in a classroom more. I will appreciate having those conferences that, you know, Garrett, and when we go into meetings and we're like, oh my gosh, it could have been an email, but I'm going to appreciate those meetings a little bit more, at least for like the first 6 months. After that,
I'm telling you guys that I'm also an introvert. So like the first month of this, I was like, heaven, this is heaven. Even though I love teaching, I love students, that's a different, you know, you would in your training, that becomes a different part of your brain, and the introvert thing doesn't really interact with that as much, but it does suck your energy. And so for the first month, I was like, yeah. Although my spouse is an extrovert. And so from like day 3, the man was losing his mind. It was like sitting back and just watching someone just implode. I was like, God, the extroverts are just not going to survive this. He's figured out a pattern now and has lots of like Marco Polo conversations and stuff like that. So that's good. Yeah, but that's how it was at our house. But I do miss seeing everybody. And like you said, those fun organic conversations. And just so you can make fun of me, every Monday night at 8 o'clock with some of my friends, we do a Netflix party, and we call it crap movie party. And so we take turns choosing a really bad movie. And last night they said that I won so much, I'm not allowed to pick the movie again. It was like so beyond bad.
what was
That's
it?
so good.
It's called Tusk.
Oh, that movie.
You've
That
seen
movie
it?
is crazy. Yeah. It's part of this weird like Canadian trilogy. The prequel is called Yoga Hosers, and it has Johnny Depp's daughter in it.
Oh,
And then they fight like these little like Nazi like sausages. I'm serious.
I'm gonna write that down because when it's my turn to choose again, I'm gonna go there.
It's
Hannah, you
beautiful.
would know that. That is something that you would know.
Awesome.
trivia. Ask Hannah. So Kaneda said that her husband has tried starting 5 businesses because he's shy.
I feel that though, like because of quarantine, I'm such a huge extrovert that I've been doing like so much. I started like a whole pen pal thing, and I have like a whole mailing list. Like it's like, and then I also like joined like this like server for like people who are into the same music as me, and I'm in there like a couple hours of every day. And like we have like watch parties and listening parties, and then like I don't know, I go walk like at least 3 or 4 times a week. I don't know.
My dog
can't
sees
in my
me
room.
coming out. She's like, no more, no more.
I'm like,
Twice a day. Well, like when we're on campus, like in the middle, usually about 3 or 3:30 is like my lull where I'm like, I'm drinking more coffee. I need to stretch. And like Tatiana has told me that she has seen me from her window walking over to the rugby field or rec field to like walk around it and then go back to my office, which never fails. That's when someone comes looking for me and then Paul gets to hear that I'm never in my office. But yeah, like here, I've seen more people in my neighborhood in the last 2 months throughout the day just walking our street than I've ever seen before. And I got onto our neighborhood Facebook page that I didn't know existed till 3 days ago. And it's crazy how many people are interacting that probably don't even know each other.
Wow. So like I found there's this area and you have to like climb between like and under trees to get there, but there's like this spot that like overlooks like the entire neighborhood in my town. But then when I came back out, apparently there was like a tiny piece of land that I crossed over to get to the tree line, and apparently that's someone's property.
Oh no.
And I got in trouble. I'll find a different way. But Kanetta, I saw that you mentioned The Room. I did not hear her. I did not.
Oh, you saw The Room comment. Yeah. It is the best worst movie ever made.
What is it about?
It's just
who knows? It's this guy that he couldn't make it in Hollywood, so no one knows where he got the money, but he spent $6 million to make his own movie, and it was so bad that it became a cult classic. And now he's like years later, he's still showing midnight premieres around the country, and people show up to meet him.
Wow.
I love the scene where he walks into the
Disaster Artist with James Franco.
Oh,
It's
yes.
the movie that's about.
Got it.
Yeah, I like the scene where he
So
walks
bad
into
they
the
made a movie about how bad it was.
Yeah, and there's like a dog on the counter, and he's like, "Oh, hi, doggy."
Hi, doggy.
I just want to say that I'm a part of like Hannah's pen pal thing. Carla just got hers in the mail the other day. That has been one of the funnest things I think has come out of quarantine for us. For me especially, because I'm such a person, I love handwritten notes. I also love like birthday cards and stuff like that. Like I still have a birthday card from when I was like 3, just because like I feel like there's such a personal thing. So I literally have like this side of my wall in my office is nothing but notes that I've gotten from like Hannah and other people, like my internet friends. And it's just been so fun to get like, because it's so easy to send a text, but it's a lot more personal to like actually sit down, write a note, like put a stamp on it and put it out there. I think that's something that I really want to keep up, even that after this is over.
Honestly, yeah. I want to show y'all one of the things that she sent me. Like, look, she painted that.
Oh wow.
It's like shiny too. Like she went high quality.
Yeah, I
can't
bought
see.
postcards, but they haven't come in the mail yet, and I was like, what can I do? So I started painting and making my own postcards to send out.
Yeah, it's super cool. I like her art. She like sent me like a piece of art of like me as a cartoon character with a bunch of like wiggly frogs, and I was like, wow.
I didn't know that
It's on my wall.
Kristen was an artist until the final presentations for the media class. And this woman rolls in and can't talk. So she rolls out this whole like movie that she's made, and she's drawing art in the movie, and it's like projected on the screen with music, and it was a narration. It was the coolest thing.
I want to see this.
Well, it's on YouTube. I still have it.
Can you
But
please link us later?
I just had a root canal, and I could not miss her class. I never miss a class. So I was like, I just had this root canal. I just had it done. My face is like swollen. So I was like, my cheeks are like this, and I'm like, Dr. Shane, can I please go first because my mouth really hurts. And so yeah, I had to make an entire presentation to where I did not talk. It was fun though.
Well, she spearheaded our YouTube channel, so a lot of the videos that are up there, you know, she kind of started that whole formatting, and she's gonna do a podcast for us. So we have our own celebrity. You know, one day you'll be all big and famous. I used to be her boss.
Hey, Dr. D, since we're talking about neighbors and your neighbors are wildlife, do you want to tell people what you've been seeing and doing?
Uh, well, yeah, I'm out in the country. I've got one neighbor right up the way, but, if something ever happens, but mostly I'm just surrounded by farmland and cows and wild animals and snakes. And so so basically all I do really is just work. And I have to say, even for me, I've kind of lost motivation to do a lot of things. Like I'll say, I'm going to do this today. And then I'll look at my watch. I'm like, wait, it's 3 o'clock and I'm watching Naked and Afraid. I need to get up and do something. So it's been kind of weird, but overall, I mean, I'm just out here by myself with my dog and my cat. And I do a lot of, when I need to get out, there's something in the yard to always do because I have an acre of land and I have to mow it with a push mower. Right, Dr. Shane? Yeah, it's, I'm also an introvert too, but it's just a little strange, because I can't just get up and, go visit a family member or, even go to the grocery store. Really, I kind of stay away from the grocery store, just go when I need to go. But yeah, I tell Dr. Shane about my, my situations with the animals out here. I had a skunk out here for a good year that was crawling into my house and just making my life miserable. So yeah, I had to deal with the skunk and possums, and yeah, it's interesting. Dr. Shane, you have you kind of live, you live in a neighborhood, but you're on an acre almost too, and you're like backed up to a nature preserve, right? So
Yeah, a designated green belt. So there's like 15 acres preserved behind our back fence. And so we get coyotes, and usually in the fall is when you can hear them. But what's really fun right now, first of all, because there's like almost no one driving around, the deer walk around like they own the place. And did you all see that in your neighborhoods too?
Mhm.
People drive down the street and the deer just walk out and look at them like,
HEB in Belton, they'll just walk right by the parking lot.
yeah, the deer are just like, we're in charge now. It's over. The age of man is finished. But yeah, so the deer, coyotes, but the deer, oh yeah, they're starting, because it's late May, they're starting to have babies. So yesterday, I think it was, like all the days run together. There was a baby deer about this big, and they walk within the first, I think, 24, 48 hours. And so you can see them awkwardly walking around, and their moms are usually nearby, but not right at them, not right near them. So yeah, lots of nature to watch.
It's funny that y'all say that because I
Yeah.
literally grew up in the country surrounded by like 10, 15 acres of land. So all of that was so normal for me. And growing up, I always thought getting sprayed by a skunk was a more prevalent issue than it really is to other people. Like growing up, I seriously lived in fear of being sprayed by a skunk and having to take a tomato bath. And then I moved out of the country into the city, and they're like, yeah, we're not really too scared of that. And I was like, well, you should be. Yeah, it's so funny how people mention that, because I used to sleep outside with my sister on our trampoline that we had growing up, and we would spend like the whole night outside. We would have a cover, and we would hear like coyotes and stuff like howling, but to us, we weren't afraid of anything, and it's kind of how I grew up. So it's kind of funny how now here, since it's like to me, this is big city. So how all the deer and stuff is like coming out of the woodworks. So I have Benji in my lap because he is a brat dog that needs to have my attention 24 hours of the day.
So cute.
Mine, like, she's like her own person. She decides whether she's like into having my attention or not. She's like, sometimes I want to be in your room, but then like 2 minutes later, I'm gonna want to get out, and you're gonna have to get up and let me out.
I think my pets are tired of me being home. My cat just looks at me like, don't you have somewhere to go? Because I'm always like, Kitty, come here. And they're like, no. The wild goat, I heard about that, Jess. they took over like a town in
The pictures are great. These kids just walking down like Main Street, past the shops and stuff. I think my dogs are gonna have a nervous breakdown when I go back to the office, and they're gonna have to be here and be crated. Like they are kings right now. Like they're laying on the couch right now, sleeping. Like I'm here to serve them and let them out whenever they want and give them pets. And so when they're here alone, I think they're just gonna be like, what?
I saw
We
somebody
gotta- we
posted
gotta
the video
do
of
a third-
John Travolta where he's confused, and it's like mosquitoes in Texas wondering what happened this year.
We adopted a third dog at the end of February, and then I went on spring break, and then all of this happened, and I'm like, man, I had no opportunity to break this dog of any kind of separation anxiety. So that's going to be rough. I think this is probably just what you're saying too, is
Yep.
I don't know how she's going to be.
We got these boys on leap day. They're leap year dogs. We rescued them, and they're brothers, so that at least they have each other. But so it's been really great. They've been really weary of people and things, and so being home has been a wonderful opportunity for bonding and kind of packing up with them. But now they're going to have to be left alone at some point, and that's going to be a whole new experience, I think.
Dr. Dieter, you said snakes. Are they like the bad kind of snakes, like the rattlers, or are they just like garden snakes?
Well, I mean, out here, I have a lot of cactus. And so, the rattlesnakes like to get into the cactus. That's where they hide, but the last time my neighbor's cat was, I heard the snake. Well, I'd never really heard a rattlesnake before. Even living in Texas for as long as I have, but so I heard it, and then I went and I looked into the cactus, and the cat was like sitting right there by the snake. And I guess the cat wasn't afraid. It's a little black cat. So I shooed the cat away, but yeah, so I did, it was really close to the house, so I did shoot it, but I hadn't used my 380 in a long time, I mean, last time I shot a gun was when I was in the military, and that was years ago. So I just took it out and just started shooting at it, and I did kill it. And then my neighbor came over with her shotgun, and she was making fun of me. She says, "Yeah, I know you killed it, 'cause, you shot it like 9 times." I'm like, "Yeah." So it's been different, I mean, I try to not, do anything with the wildlife, but the snakes, if they get too close to the house, I've learned that I need to probably take care of it, because I have a dog, and he's like my whole life. So yeah, I mean, there's rat snakes too. So one day I was sitting in my living room, and I looked out, and there was a tree right out there, and I saw the snake hanging from the tree. The thing was like, it must have been 6 foot long. I'm not kidding. I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? So, it's different, because I never lived in the country by myself. So I don't know. Those are some of my crazy stories out in the country. But I like the country. Dr. Shane knows I love it a lot. I love the nature, and I don't like the storms. Sometimes they kind of scare me, but yeah. Anyway, to make a long story short, yeah, there are snakes. In fact, the farmer that has the land right next to me, the other day I heard some gunshots, and I looked out, and he had shot 2 rattlesnakes that were in, you have the big hay bale, the big hay things that are all round. They have a whole bunch of them next door, and the snakes crawl underneath the hay. When they were moving them, the snakes came out. So he was out there shooting the snakes. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so
Yeah, my mom was
it's
out of the
interesting.
country, and she's always shooting snakes, and yeah, she hates frogs too, and she always finds them in her pool, and yeah, I'm always getting a call. There's frogs, there's snakes. I'm like, well, move out of the country. She's like, no. I was like, well, you brought this on yourself.
Yeah. I thought it was better.
Yeah, I'm always
I called my son hysterical
I was gonna
because there was a fog in the toilet.
Ooh.
And I was like, there's a fog in the toilet. He said, Mom, you can take care of it. But what do I do? So I had to get the fog out of the toilet, and I want to know how it got in the toilet in the first place. And you know what was really bad? And this is awful for me to say, but I urinated before I realized there was a frog in there. And when I stood up to kind of turn around to flush the toilet, that's when, oh my God! So, yeah.
That actually happens to my grandparents a lot. They live out in the country and they crawl up like through the pipes. And so I'm not gonna lie, I've had that happen a couple of times as well. Like
It was a shock.
they hide where under like the water comes out like in the toilet. And yeah, so I've experienced I know what you're talking about. And it's really a funny experience because you don't expect the frog to be where you're doing your business.
Exactly. And so, yeah.
Yikes.
When I first met my ex-husband's American, and we met in Germany. I'd never been to this country, so I was getting him to tell me all these things about the States. And he told me about the animals, about the big bears and the snakes, and they come in the house. He really terrified me. So when I first came to this country, it was kind of like, do I move? Do I take a step? So yeah, I gradually learned not to be afraid and to go. But who I feel sorry for is my sister lives in Australia, in Melbourne, Australia, and they have huge spiders there. Yeah, like they call them 100 or something like that. They're huge. No, can't deal with that. Yeah. So she had one in the car while she was driving. It's a wonder she didn't wreck it.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I don't care for it.
Mm-hmm.
I like animals. I like ladybirds, what you call ladybugs. Ladybirds, love them. And things like that, but snake stuff, can't deal with that.
No.
Dr. D was going to say something earlier. Do you remember?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I was gonna say, one day, this is just, well, to me, it's a funny story. Those of y'all who've been in my class know I like to tell stories, and sometimes I probably tell the same one over and over again. But anyway, so one day I was gonna go to the store or something. This was a while ago, and I put my shoe on, and I slipped my shoe on, and all of a sudden I felt something like at the end of my shoe, and I threw my shoe off, and a little mouse jumped out of my shoe. So I had put my shoe on, and I guess Miss Kitty, my cat, had been up all night. I heard her chasing something, but that was the mouse she was chasing. And so I threw my shoe off, and that mouse jumped out of my shoe. And I think Miss Kitty chased it probably for a couple of days, and she finally caught it. But yeah, so weird stuff like that's happened. I'm like, it was a little mouse, so it didn't really bother me so much, but it scared me, So anyway.
I think the most country thing that's ever really happened to me is my grandparents had a barn. The Blue Goats Fairy tell the story. And my grandma was a waitress growing up, and those like white lightsaber mints, those were like her favorite thing, like because she smoked cigarettes, and so after she smoked a cigarette, she'd pop one of those in. So growing up, I loved those little white mints. And I'm sitting in the barn one time with my grandma and my grandpa, and they're not really paying attention. And I see a mothball, which I don't know if y'all know what mothballs are. They're those very poisonous white round balls that smell terrible, extremely poisonous to get rid of snakes. And I ate one at 3 years old. And I had to go to the hospital and get my stomach pumped because I ate a mothball.
I have a city kid story. When I was little, I thought that my mom's can of hairspray was up on the shelf near the front door, and I maced myself. I sprayed pepper spray on my head.
Oh no!
That's the city kid equivalent of eating a poisonous mothball.
I once had one of the, okay, so I work, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I worked at a place, the graveyard shift. I was young. I worked overnight. I had 5 jobs. And so my dad was really concerned about me walking through the area that the building was in, that I was working at, and how dark the parking lot was. And he was very overprotective. And so he had gifted me one of those keychain pepper spray deals. And so this thing was on my keychain forever. And I walked into the building one day, and I went to my desk. It was like an open floor plan. I went to my desk, and I just like kind of like plopped my keys down like you normally do, and it exploded everywhere. And so everybody like within like a 5-foot radius of me immediately almost like had this like visceral reaction. Like everybody was like watering and blowing their nose and coughing and like exiting in all the areas. And so like it was like this like orangey kind of oily mixture, and I'm trying to clean it up, and like it's on my hands. I can't see what I'm doing. And for days, people would walk by my desk and kind of like get like that tickle in their throat, because of it was just like everywhere. And for days I was finding like little splatters of it to clean up. It was a nightmare. Never again will I ever have anything aerosol connected to my keys.
Yeah, no, that's the one reason why I don't trust myself with pepper spray. Like my grandma, since I've moved here, has been telling me like to get pepper spray. And I'm like, Grandma, like you really don't understand the amount of clumsiness your granddaughter has. I will spray myself before I spray the bad guy. I will make it easier for him to kidnap me. Like, I have better chances if I run or if I stab him. Like, yeah, it's not for me.
So do you guys usually end up talking about like crazy wildlife stories and spraying yourself with pepper spray? And it goes
It
every
really depends. Like, it really depends on like who we have on, what mood we're all in. Like sometimes it goes to like crazy stories. Sometimes it's legitimately just like school updates or like how everyone's doing. It's just kind of, it has its own life.
Yeah, it's just like a almost like a fun like hangout, like not only to get information out there, but just to really interact with one another. And if students like miss it in person, it's kind of like a visual podcast almost. You know, if a student is feeling lonely, like they can go back and just listen to people talk, because I feel like our stories are funny, you know, so they can go back and listen. And sometimes I go back and I listen to our earlier ones just because maybe I miss my blue coats, I miss other people's voices. So yeah.
Oh, you guys should edit like a blooper reel or a crazy story reel.
That's a good idea. We
all the
made
stories.
before we were like self-quarantine, I had to social distance. The Blue Coats made a virtual online tour, and it is nothing but bloopers. We
Whole thing.
upload it because we were all so silly. That hill that's like behind Founders Hall, we ran down it and sang the We Are Farmers theme song, but instead of farmers, we said, We Are Warriors, bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 and ran down to the video screen. It's a hot mess, and it is the funniest thing I think any of us have recorded.
Yes. I think we took turns like recording like certain areas on campus, and Krishan, like every time that he was on, he was like, "Sup guys, I'm Ambassador Williams." Like and then there's like this entire scene of me and Amanda like on the floor, like dying laughing. I don't even remember why. I don't remember why.
It's
I don't
because
remember.
Krishan was like, yeah, you already know. And we're like, no, Krishan, we
He was at the computer lab, and I think Scott was there, and he was like, he dapped him up. It was beautiful.
Amanda in the counseling center. Hello.
Oh,
Redo it.
it was Amanda. She walked in, and then we had it like the cinematography. We had her turn and say hello.
It's
You guys
so
were so loud. I kept walking around, and all the staff members were like, "What in the heck are they doing?" They were just like, at least they're having fun.
We're having too much fun.
People would really stare at us because we spent like, after we filmed a small part, it would spend a good like 5 to 10 minutes just laughing. And I really think that people thought something was wrong with us.
That's the way to live.
Blue coat's putting in that coffee.
I don't know.
Oh, every Tuesday on campus. Every Tuesday. I would crash so hard around like 3.
Oh gosh, Dr. Shane, they would pass out in my office. Like 3 of them would just lay out. They're like, okay, the coffee's gone. I had to like get them up and like, come on guys, time to get up.
Carla was always like, you want a chair?
Carla would be like, who wants to make a phone call? We would all go,
Yeah, they need George Costanza style beds under your desk.
And my favorite part that I miss about The Office is when Garrett would come out and be like, you guys are like this, and I need you to be like this. like,
Which I can promise you, if we were in a bigger facility, that you would never hear that out of my mouth.
It was very reasonable. Sometimes we were in Carla's office doing karaoke. So I understand. I understand completely. It's okay, Garrett.
No, I think going to the P20s was my favorite. They were doing karaoke in the car. And because we're off of campus, some of the songs I was like, guys.
These need to be videos we're posting.
They're not school appropriate. You know, like whenever they like do the censor, so like it'd be like, it's beep, this beep, like it wouldn't even be funny because beep.
So
Okay,
we were talking
guys.
about things you randomly start up during quarantine. I actually started a podcast and I actually bleep my guests when they cuss just because I think it's hilarious. Even if it's like not even a really bad word, I'm just like, I'm gonna bleep it. I'll just make it
Heck.
funny. Or when artists talk about exposure or doing something for exposure, I bleep out exposure. So that's a cuss word for
That's
entrepreneur.
good.
Artist.
You should put your own plug there. If they're like plugging their own show, just like mute it and then put your voice over there. It's like Garrett Smith concert. I'm like,
Oh yeah, y'all should definitely check
All
out
the things I
Garrett
have.
Smith podcast.
Actually, there's one where I interview an NFL cheerleader, and the episode starts with a blooper. Like she got the wrong title or something, didn't know it was recording. So the first 30 seconds, her just stumbling, trying to figure out where to start the podcast.
Dang.
oh my god. We just have like 10-ish minutes left, but I am taking sociology classes over the summer. I'm taking gender and society and then sociology of the family. So since they're all online, what should students who are taking these courses, like what should they be like expecting, like what's to come?
Trying to let Dr. D take.
Well, I guess I think Dr. Shane and I teach a little. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how exactly you teach online, Dr. Shane. I know everyone teaches different online. Normally, there's postings and the assignments and everything goes through Canvas. But one thing that I've noticed since this pandemic is that some students like to meet with me WebEx. So some students come up with a time that they want to meet. I'm open to, having a time that we can meet for, an hour or two or whatever. I tried to do that this past semester. I had to, I was new to WebEx. The only problem is it's hard for everyone to, come up with the same time that they like. So I might try to incorporate more WebEx stuff so that students can, and if a student needs to talk to me rather than email, if they want to see me WebEx or something like that. So I'm trying to use the technology more. That's the one thing I've learned through all this is to use more technology, because sometimes we kind of get stuck in our own ways, you know. So, but Dr. Shane, I don't know, is there anything special that you're gonna do, or?
It's so true. I keep thinking this even for like my relationships. It's like people who are far away, I never used all this technology to like hang out with them or talk to family or whatever. And now I'm finding all of these ways because this is sort of forcing it. And the same with teaching. I keep trying to avoid synchronous. Like we could do one-on-one meetings on WebEx, but I'm trying to avoid synchronous because not everybody has good internet access. Sally will remember we did one synchronous meeting in environmental sociology, and like at one point somebody was having to call Doug's phone and be on speakerphone because their internet wasn't working. I mean, it was like only 4 people could get on, and so I will more likely record lectures, like record me talking, and so you can listen, and then we'll have discussion boards so that we can have back and forth. There is a way for me to use comments on the video. So if I'm talking and doing a lecture, you can type in comments and they'll be time stamped across the video, the lecture video. So I think it'd be fun to try that. So for the family class, we're doing this book, which is just a reader of all kinds of sociological articles about the family, everything from parenting to caring for elders to abuse in the family, but all kinds of interesting stuff, very critical though. And one student complained one semester and said there's no functionalism. Well, maybe only Dr. D will understand this, but like functionalist theory is no longer used for theories of the family because it's just a very, very biased, old-fashioned theory that says like there's a right way. There's a nuclear family with a father breadwinner, and that's the function. We don't go for that anymore. We all know that family is diverse and complicated. But so you know me, I have to make everything more global. And so I added this book, and I just love it because it goes through all of these other kinds of family forms. So we kind of go around the world. There's Polynesia, polyandry in the Himalayas, fidelity for the Igbo of Nigeria. There's a matrilineal matriarchal society in Indonesia that we read about. China, India, Brazil, Iran. What else? I mean, yeah. And then there's like one chapter on the United States. So I love this, and I think the students really love this book too. So that's kind of what you can expect.
Who is
Yeah.
the
And
author
Dr.
of
Shane,
that?
I want to,
This one is
sorry, go ahead.
Rita Nanda. I'll type it in.
Those look like interesting books, Dr. Shane. I hadn't seen those new books that you're using.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I switched from the Chambers book. It wasn't, I didn't think it was as rigorous. I think our sociology students can think more deeply about it. So I used it last time I taught it, and it was great, except for the person who liked functionalism. They were disappointed.
No, I'm so excited.
Right, the expressive and the. Yeah, Dr. Shane got me talking about sociology, so now it's hard to stop me. I'm like, oh yeah, let's talk about Parsons, functionalism. So.
No, I love it. I'm so excited to take y'all's classes over the summer. I really enjoyed it. My first sociology classes I've ever taken were with Dr. Shane my first semester at TMUCT, and I fell in love. Like I absolutely fell in love with it. So much that I actually made sociology my minor. So.
Yeah, you and Krishan were in that. That was a very exciting race and ethnicity class that we had.
Yeah, but I learned so much, even media and society. Like I learned so much, and I still like use that knowledge. And I'm in an interracial couple, so like my husband and I, we really like talk about the things that you taught me, and especially today with all this stuff going on, like the poor man who went running and got
Yeah.
written down.
Yeah.
You know, you really learn so much, and it's good to like those sort of classes. I feel like everybody should take because it really makes you like step outside of yourself, which is extremely important to really like empathize with other people, because at the end of the day, like we're all human beings, we're all trying to live our life and be happy. So what is the point in you know, in hatred and with others? So yeah, I really learned a lot, and I look forward to learning even more over the summer with both Dr. Dieter and Dr. Shane.
Well, and talk it up too, because I think we'd be in a better world if more people took the race and ethnicity class. Just it gives us more tools to relate to one another. Talk it up or put it on Rate My Professor or whatever, because yeah, the more the merrier in that class.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna ask for a master's in sociology. I'm gonna keep bugging you till we get one. I had to switch over to criminal justice.
I do want to throw one thing out there that I just thought of. I don't know. I haven't heard from anyone in the Pride Alliance Network student org. I don't know if y'all know anyone that's looking to be leading that next semester. It could still be going. I just haven't heard from anyone, so I don't know.
Let's chat about it after.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's not a single group out. There's been several student orgs that as soon as we went online, I mean, it was just.
I know.
I know. I was going to say that I know that there had been some back and forth when that group first started, because I had some extra money left over from my my group, GSAW, and so I know there's some extra funds I was going to give to the new GLBTQ group. So, but I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything from anybody about that. But if anyone needs any help with that group, of course, I'm more than happy to step up and help as much as I can.
Yeah, and nobody's like, if I haven't heard from anyone, it doesn't mean that org is no longer being counted for. Basically, since it's the end of the year, given the circumstances of how this year ended, I'm just kind of saying, okay, when September rolls around, and I'm going to be in contact with advisors and faculty all summer. It's kind of a luxury I didn't have last year because I got here so late in the year. But going into the year, there'll be a much easier, you know, just confirm your activity process. So if you're still an active org, if you're not an active org but still want to be, we'll make sure you're still on the list. So basically kind of a way to, I don't want to say reboot, but basically just kind of re-register everybody into who's active. And so that'll be a pretty easy process, I think, to keep that going.
I want to plug one more thing, because our sociology classes are almost full for summer. So we added one more. We added sociology of animals. And one of the books is, this makes Dr. Berry laugh, Some We Love, Some We Hate, Some We Eat. I mean, it's a cool question. Like, why is it that some animals are in our homes, some animals we hate, and some animals are food? Like, it's not all biological. There's a lot of cultural reasons for that too. So sociology of animals is, I think, Sally, you might be interested in that class. So that's going to happen this summer, 8 weeks online.
Yeah, I signed up for it. I registered for the class. Yeah. So I'm going through the process of it. I haven't ordered the books yet though, but I'm looking forward to it. That last word, we eat, it was kind of, class should be interesting.
What was it? Oh, the book?
Yeah, the book. I've read online, you know, comments about the book and stuff, and it should be interesting. I hope the class goes.
I do too. I do too. Yeah, there's a whole chapter where he advocates like the difference between dogfighting and cockfighting, and it's very controversial, and so people argue about it online, but it's this chapter that makes you step back and go, whoa.
People
wow.
argue online about a no-brainer? Wow.
What? That's crazy.
And also I just wanted to add too, in the fall, if you want to talk about sex, we can talk about sex in the fall. I'm trying to be funny.
The difference of job descriptions, you could put that on your desk and people go, oh, a textbook. If I set that on my desk and someone came in for help, it'd be like,
It's
Sir?
true.
Gonna take
Yeah,
that.
Dr. D and I can have some wild things on our desk, Sarah. And Dr. Jones just has like skulls and skeletons all over. But if you have that in your office, you might be a little off.
I think as Paul told me when he worked in Colorado, he actually had a bowl full of condoms on his desk. And it was just like his students would come to him as a resource. It stay safe, you know. So
Dr.
he
Q
didn't get that out when he got here. He was a little
on
proud
her
of Paul.
desk, actually. Dr.
Yeah.
Quinones does.
She does?
Yeah.
Yes, she does. She brought them to class one time in a bowl and left it at the front of the class and criminal ethics.
Well, earlier in the semester, they were handing out condoms in downstairs, and everybody got their little baggies. So at one point, I had 5 little baggies just sitting on my desk, and I thought it was snacks. So I go and I'm like, "What is it?" It's like lubrication and condoms and all this other stuff. I'm like, "All right, blue coats."
They didn't lead in. I rounded the corner and she just turned and goes, you want a condom? I was like, whoa. That has never been the way someone's introduced stuff to me before.
Hey, higher ed, we can do it, right?
Effective. I remember them.
Oh my
Ladies,
God.
it has been a pleasure having all of you here today. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. And you are invited to come on any Tuesday. We're always here, so.
Yes.
Thank you. This was awesome. It was so good to see all of you.
I know. All right. Well, it's been fun. We will see you guys next week
Yes.
and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Dr. Shane, if you want to stay on a minute, I can talk to you about that org. Oh, she left.